Oh boy, okay, here we go. Alright, got my glove, sweater, hat, and wrong Freddy. God damn it. Hello everyone, welcome to the Ginger Snaps, where I'll be discussing horror movies for you guys in a very blunt way. I'm your host, Steven Harrold, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my review for Five Nights at Freddy's, which was released in October of 2023. And yes, I know it's late, but I figured I might as well do this fucking review. As you all know, Five Nights at Freddy's is based on the very popular video game series, which has spawned a shit ton of sequels, so much merchandise, and two blatant rip-off films, both with their own unique fan bases. Now, of course, when Five Nights at Freddy's finally got its film release, of course, a lot of people still clamored to the theater to make sure it stayed true to what the video game was. Now, as we all know, a lot of movies that are based on video games don't really pan out very well, especially horror ones. So how did this film deliver? That's where I'm going to be giving you guys my review for Five Nights at Freddy's. For the story of this film, of course, it has to be something, unique, because in the video game, you're a security guard who is watching over Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and you're trying to survive 5 nights there, waiting until 6 a.m., and hopefully the animatronic animals don't fucking kill you, right? Of course, for the movie, they decided to have a guy who is having to raise his sister, a younger sister, played by Josh Hutcherson, and he's having shitty luck with work. I mean, when we were introduced to him, he's literally knocking the shit out of someone in a pool at a mall because he thought this kid was being kidnapped because of his backstory. And then we have another guy who is a job consultant who offers him a job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, where he just has to work the night shift, and he has to just make sure no one breaks in and, keep your eye on the monitors at all times. And of course, that's when shit goes sideways for him each progressive night, and he just basically has to survive it. So of course, when it comes to the story of this movie, it's like, okay, well, you know what? This kind of makes good logical sense. At least they kept in tone with what the video game was. I mean, from my recollection of even rewatching the movie itself on the Blu-ray, he does spend 5 nights there. And it's like, okay, yeah, he's there for 5 fucking nights. For the story itself, it's pretty damn impressive, actually, to keep in line with the video game itself. And, because, there was no way you were going to watch an 1.5-hour film of some guy watching through computer monitors while jump scares are happening left, right, and center. It just doesn't translate very well when it comes to film. But other than that, the story works very well in its favor. For the characters of this movie, of course, we have Mike, played by Josh Hutcherson, who is, raising his little sister, which we all know the backstory of. His youngest brother was kidnapped years ago, and he is just dealing with PTSD and depression and all sorts of stuff. He has trust issues when it comes to people and kidnapping. Of course, he is trying to also make sure he raises his sister while her aunt is basically trying to go after him and try to get custody of his little sister just so she can get some money, right? But then, of course, he is, given that job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and he starts to experience that shit. Now, his performance is good. I generally actually like the guy with all his previous work. I know he was in Hunger Games. I know he'd done a lot of other films before that. He is a phenomenal actor. He really is. And they gave him a good role here. And for his character, there's no gripes with it whatsoever. He does a bang-up job as Mike. Elizabeth Lyle playing Vanessa as a police officer. Her character is very well, but a little off-putting sometimes. The first time we are introduced to her, it seems like she is still kind of like attached to her childhood. I mean, like, there's the moment where she reveals the bears to her, or to Mike, and basically is just like, do you want to dance? And it's just like, that's fucking weird for a cop to do. Her character is very complex. She leaves little for Mike to understand her. I mean, there are times when she's very sweet with him. Then there are times where she's kind of a bitch to him, but within, you know, the character's limits, because, you know, there's something she knows about Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria that Mike doesn't know. And her performance in this movie is another one, just like Josh Hutcherson. Another bang-up fucking performance. Of course, when it comes to the movie itself, we don't know this guy's the fucking antagonist until the very end of the film, and that is Steve, who is played by the amazing Matthew Lillard, who is back in horror once again, and his fucking character I absolutely love in this movie, especially when he goes for the monologue of explaining the rules of Freddy Fazbear's and the backstory of it, and it's almost like he did it very well when you get those first instructions in the first game. And Matthew Lillard's performance in the beginning of the film, who offers Mike the job, to the end of the film, which, spoilers guys, he is the big yellow bunny in the fucking suit, and he is the guy who is responsible for the disappearance of all these kids, and also the kidnapping of Mike's younger brother. And he uses this suit, this mechanical suit, to hide in, and to have him as a villain for the first time in quite some time. I mean, like, what other villain role did he fucking play that everyone knows? Well, we all know him as fucking Stu from Scream, right? And he does a great job here. I mean, like, it was so welcoming to see him in this movie, and like, I mean, that one scene, it's a fucking meme now, but other than that, like, his performance, top notch. Of course, all the other minor characters in this movie are top notch. I mean, like, we have the little sister of Mike. She does a great job. We have the taxi driver, who is famous YouTuber Koryax Kenshin. He does a fucking nice job for what little screen time he has, but it's nice to see some YouTubers are actually on fucking films now. I mean, like, we had James A. Janice and Chelsea from Dead Meat in Scream 5, for fuck's sakes, right? So it's nice to see that. And all the other characters that are in this movie, there's not a dull, bland character in this film. None whatsoever. And I absolutely love that. And of course, as we all know, when this movie, of course, when we're talking about it, you also have to talk about the animatronics themselves. Chica, Freddy, Foxy, and Bonnie, all done very well. You can see that some of it is CGI, some of it's animatronic, some of it's people in suits. But other than that, I was immediately impressed with what we were able to see in this film when it comes to those famous characters. And to see that there are two different versions of Freddy in this movie it's a nice little touch. And of course, as we all know, when it comes to this film, a lot of people, you know, can give some sort of flack for this film with it comes to those characters. But it's nice, the fact that they are actually possessed by these dead kids that Matthew Lillard's character has systematically hid the bodies in the fucking animatronic armatures. And I'm like, wow, that's fucking crazy to actually think about. But being possessed is nice. It's a nice little touch. It kind of makes sense in a way. It's not like, you know, because if they decided to go rogue AI animatronics that were built in the fucking 80s, it'd be like, okay, cool, so this is basically Megan and Chucky from Child's Play 2019. Or, you know, any other fucking movie with bad AI killing machines. Terminator. But other than that, these characters did phenomenal. And I loved watching the special effects or the behind the scenes to see how these things were created and how they were made. And it is so fucking refreshing to see. Now, when it comes to this movie's gore and kills, there's not that many of them. And some of it's kind of off screen. Of course, being 14A, you can get away with certain kills being able to be seen on screen. Like when the girl gets pulled into Freddy and is bitten in half. To see her demise is like, okay, well, at least we got to see something, right? The gores and kills are obviously minor. I've seen better in one of the rip-off films, which is, you know, saying something, which I will get to when it comes to the overall thoughts on this film, but when it comes to this film's gore and kills, it's not too bad. It's not over the top. I mean, my daughter has played the game or has watched YouTubers play the game, and she and me went to go see this movie in theaters. It was the second time I had seen it in theaters when I went to go see it. The first time I went with my brother, and then I took her to go see it for my second time. And she didn't jump, she didn't get scared, nothing whatsoever. And that's better than, her jumping and screaming in certain other movies. But other than that, it's not too graphic, and it's a very passable film. When leaving the theater, I did have minor gripes with this film. Like, there are some slow parts to the film where it's just it kind of feels like it drags a little bit. But of course, when it comes to this film, a lot of people seem to have enjoyed it. But there was something that was always said that basically always rang true. It seems that the two rip-off films seem to have been better than this film. Well, it helps with the rating, right? I mean, the two rip-off films that we can obviously talk about is the Banana Splits film and Willy's Wonderland. Willy's Wonderland is a just dead on fucking rip-off. But it's got Nicolas Cage in it. And one of these days, I'm going to have to do a review for this fucking movie. Because as much as I actually enjoyed Five Nights at Freddy's, I can easily say that Willy's Wonderland I enjoyed more. And that's not a slight knock at all towards Five Nights at Freddy's, because Five Nights at Freddy's I've now seen 5 times, and I seem to have enjoyed it each and every single time I've watched it, and it helped with my rating. Originally, when I wanted to do this review, I was going to give it a 5 out of 10. But because of rewatching it over and over again, my rating has definitely changed. So, for my rating, I'm going to give Five Nights at Freddy's a 7 out of 10. So what do you guys think of Five Nights at Freddy's? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you also give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and also subscribe for more content. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so you can get notified about all the other videos coming out on this channel. Anyways, guys, that's it from me. This has been the Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven Harrold. I will talk to you guys later, and remember to stay spooky.